Hey lovely ladies, namaste, happy new year, happy 2021, the first of the first 2021. So how exciting that it's the first day of a new year. I love the feeling of writing 1/1/21 in my journal this morning. So we are beginning 9 days. Every day I'm going to be doing a live on each of the 9 themes from my Awakening Shakti Depth Mentorship program. So today's live is called The Still Voice Within. And you know, the name says what it is, but I'm just going to say a few things to this. And by the way, for anyone who's watching this either live or watching back, at the end of this video, I'll tell you when the next one's going to be, because they're going to be at different times. The videos will stay here for you to watch, to catch up with, so don't worry, you won't lose out. And I'm going to aim for each one to be between 15 and 30 minutes, but definitely no longer than that, so not too long. And I'm going to be offering a little practice each time I do the live, so just so you know that. So the still voice within. So this is where we begin the Awakening Shakti journey. And I want to tell you a little bit actually about how it came to be as well, I guess, because it kind of makes sense as well. It will help you understand what I'm talking about more perhaps. So I think it's about 7 or 8 years ago. Hi Sophia. I think it's about 7 or 8 years ago, or maybe 9, I don't know, something like that. I had already been teaching yoga, conscious dance, and beginning to teach some tantra as well for some time. But I had this repeating cycle of getting into loverships that were quite short and often quite painful for me. And so I was in a phase of experiencing deep heartbreak at the experience actually of being or feeling abandoned, being abandoned by a beloved who came and then went very, very quickly. And I was feeling a lot of emotional pain, like real despair, real darkness. And it wasn't the first time. And like I say, at this point, I was already a teacher of conscious dance, of Kundalini yoga, of meditation and sexual awakening for women. So, you know, I had quite a bit of shame around that I still hadn't got things figured out. But out of that darkness, out of that despair, one day I was sitting on the floor in my bedroom and just completely spontaneously, it's not that I was thinking, oh, what could I create? Suddenly this just inspiration came to me, and I wrote down these words on bits of paper and I laid them out around me. And what came out of me was the 9 themes for the Awakening Shakti Mentorship program. And it was like, I guess what I'd written down were the things that I felt I needed to know, or I kind of intellectually knew these were the stepping stones for me as well as for everyone else that needed to be embodied and moved through for a fuller and healthier embodiment of the awakened Shakti. So the first one, and they are in a particular order for a purpose, is the still voice within. And so this is all about the importance of cultivating the capacity for residing in deep stillness within your body and your mind as a foundation. Which is really interesting, because when people inquire or they ask about sexual awakening or about tantra or about embodying the divine feminine, you know, there will be the assumption that we're going to go straight to the sexual part or straight to the embodiment part. But what I understood and what I understand more and more every year is that without the foundational part of the capacity and the ever deepening capacity for resting in stillness, you can't hold yourself through your growth process. So as we go on the journey of awakening, right, which is never ending, which is ever ongoing, you will be triggered. Your wounds will surface. So again, if anyone's got the misconception that sexual and spiritual awakening is just about having better sex, please drop that right now. You will have much better sex beyond what you ever dreamt possible, for sure. I know. I'm 56 and right now I'm experiencing sex like on a level again beyond anything I ever even dreamt possible, right? So that is true. However, it's not all about that. And and as you open sexually and spiritually, so all the shadow arises, all of it. Your wounds, your triggers, your dark side, that which you didn't want to see in yourself, that which you've been projecting onto other people, it's all going to come up. Sometimes fast, sometimes slow, but it will absolutely come up. That's what the awakening process is about, and that's what Shakti energy does. She moves and opens you and reveals to you, first of all, everything that you're not, so that you can become who you are truly underneath all of the layers, all of the conditioning, and all of the programming. And so, if you don't have the capacity to rest in stillness, it's going to be very turbulent. It may be turbulent anyway, but your capacity to rest in stillness is what's going to support you in anchoring yourself when these emotional storms arise, in holding space for yourself when you're triggered, in being able to process trauma and pain and wounding, right? It's foundational to be able to relate consciously, to be able to speak your truth. When you're in a group program, you're going to get triggered by other people in the group program. And the stuff that you begin to learn as you open and shift and transform is going to trigger other people. And of course, just by the process of living and being in life, we're constantly relating with others, not just sexually and romantically, but everyone in our life. And so there's always going to be opportunities for challenge, conflict, dysfunction, and your ability to connect to the still point within yourself is fundamental to your ability to communicate and relate consciously. Without that, again, you're going to be projecting, you're going to be blaming, you're going to be spewing forth all kinds of poison into the relational field. You're not going to be self-aware, and self-awareness is what this whole process of awakening is about. So you need the capacity to drop out of identification with who you think you are, and the stillness within is what supports that, right? That makes sense. So it's the foundational piece, and we begin with a month dedicated to, and of course many of you are already meditating anyway, but we begin with a month where we explore meditation as a woman, because again, this is something that is not really talked about, that the way to stillness, there are many ways to stillness. There isn't just one way. There are many ways, and I've explored many of them. You know, I'm naturally a mover and a dancer, and so my natural way always was through movement, through expressive, ecstatic dance. I could easily reach the stillness pretty much like that. As soon as I got on the dance floor, identification went, spirit moves me. Easy for me. Hard for others. So, you know, we're all very different. But sitting still, oh my God, I couldn't sit still. Oh my God, I couldn't sit still. Teaching Kundalini yoga and meditation, I've studied to teach mind and meditation in the Kundalini Yoga tradition, doing years and years and years of practice every day with mantra, with breath, with posture. So I've explored all of that. I learned Transcendental Meditation with a dear friend of mine and then began to practice that. So I've been exploring conscious embodiment, meditative movement, embodied awareness, and of course Tantra is the merger of meditation and love, or meditation and energy. So Tantra is meditative. It's meditative lovemaking with life. So I've been exploring all this for 20 years. And what I see missing so much is an understanding that for women, the route into stillness may be different. There's been this privileging of the masculine way, naturally, because we live in a very patriarchal framework still, and all of the great teachers and all of the great books and all of the great yogis, of course, have all been men who talk often in a very masculine way about consciousness, about transcendence, and about how to meditate. And so there's been this assumption that we must sit in yogic pose, in lotus pose, with our fingers in Gyan Mudra. And, you know, this is what I do in Kundalini Yoga. I don't teach Kundalini Yoga anymore. I teach Shakti Yoga, focus at the third eye, and rest there. So there's been this privileging of that way. But in that month of going into the stillness within, we explore many different ways of meditating. So even if you've been meditating and you have your way for years, there's always another layer. There's always something new for you to explore. So if you're very accustomed to doing stillness meditation, try movement. If you're very accustomed to meditating with mantra, try a walking meditation, try a breathing meditation, try focusing on a yantra for a month. For example, there are so many different ways to stillness, but the most important thing is that you do it every day. You have that commitment, and that commitment continues every day of your life. Every day of your life. It's fundamental, absolutely fundamental. For me, you know, having explored so many different varieties and methods of meditation, I can tell you one thing. I mean, all of them have shifted me and awakened me and supported me. But the greatest thing for me, actually, as I look back on my life at this point, is when I came out of an abusive relationship 4 years ago now, absolutely broken apart. What healed and saved me the most was my daily devotion to meditating first thing in the morning in stillness, come what may. And at that point, I think that's when I learned Transcendental Meditation, and I was using that for much of that year alongside my other practices that I already had. And that switched something for me where I was finally able to sit in stillness. Even though it was challenging and my ego resisted it. But the blessings and the benefits of that were so immense, such that now I can't wait to meditate. Like any moment I get to sit down and close my eyes, I love it. It's beautiful. It's divine. It gives me so much space, so much peace, so much self-love, so much resting back into the knowing of the rightness of everything that is in my life. It's the most powerful gift you can give yourself. So, and of course, as I talk about I'll talk about in future days on the course, when we come to the 8th and the 9th parts of this course, which are meeting the masculine and divine union, this is when the stillness within that you begin to cultivate in the very first month is appreciated for what it is, because that stillness within I equate with your divine masculine presence. And the more you cultivate that, and I know this from experience, the more that stillness meets you, you can meet yourself, you are experiencing divine union within. And then it's like you have this unshakable unity within yourself. You have this unshakable masculine presence of pure light, pure space, pure consciousness that is showing up for you eternally, that's always there, just like the man you've always longed for. Well, I speak personally, just like the man I always longed for. Now I have that presence within me. It's never going to go away, whatever happens on the outside. So we're also laying the foundations for the experience of meeting our masculine more fully later on down the line, and then of the sacred divine union within, which is the completion part of this 9-month cycle, right? So I'm just going to see, I can't see any questions or any points, so I don't know why that would be, but I'll just keep talking in that case. I'm just looking at my clock to make sure I don't overrun on time as well. So let's just do a little practice together now. So you have this experience, and like I say, on the course you have a whole month to explore many different ways of meditating, many different ways of experiencing stillness. But the number one thing is you make a daily commitment to your daily practice first thing in the morning, at least once, ideally more, right? But let me just guide you now for a very short time in the experience of stillness. So I'm not going to be doing anything dynamic right now because I'm sitting in front of my phone and I can't get up and move, but also we're just going to do it for a short time anyway. So find yourself as you are, sitting, lying, ideally sitting for this, and take a few fuller, deeper breaths into your body. And as you breathe out, releasing the breath with a sigh or a sound, and feel yourself releasing any tension out of your physical body. Be aware of the ground beneath your body, beneath your base, beneath your legs. Be aware of your physical body. So what I'm guiding you into is not a leaving the body, it's a going into stillness through the body. Close your eyes. Take all your attention inside yourself. Draw your energy back from wherever it's been scattered. Gently, just call your energy back and keep your body relaxed and open. Notice your breath. It flows in, it flows out. And see if you can fully inhabit your physical body with your awareness. So you're fully present in every part of you. And the breath flows in and the breath flows out. Notice sensations and let them be. Notice energy and let it be. Notice thoughts and let them be. Nothing to change, nothing to fix, nothing to stop, nothing to push away. Just an allowing of all that is. And just notice how your nervous system relaxes more with that. Acknowledgement that all is welcome and that everything is allowed. You don't have to sit with a stiffness in your back. Yes, you want your spine to feel tall. You want to have a sense of elevation through the body rather than a sense of slumping. Yes, have that sense of elevation, of alignment, but also there's a softness, there's a suppleness, there's a relaxation. And there's nothing that you're trying to make yourself be other than what you are. There's no pretense. There's no trying to be some perfect yogi. It's just you resting into yourself. And as you relax, as your face relaxes, as your jaw relaxes, as your body relaxes, as you rest into the earth, the breath flows in and the breath flows out. Just have a sense of your awareness beginning to drop below the surface of everything that's happening outside, in the periphery. Just feel a dropping down of your awareness, a quietening happening naturally as you just allow and breathe and rest the body. Letting go of identification, letting go of attachment, and at the same time allowing, accepting and welcoming whatever your experience is, inviting deeper relaxation. And just noticing your breath as it flows in, as it flows out. Nothing you need to change, make different. And then just notice the point where the breath changes from breathing in to breathing out, and from breathing out to breathing in. There are two pivot moments where that change happens. Just put your awareness there. You might find that you quite naturally want to rest for a little pause at those 2 points. If it happens naturally, let it happen. If not, you can explore it. And whatever your experience is, just keep accepting, allowing, welcoming whatever is, relaxing the body and resting back into stillness. And then just let any kind of doing a practice, let that go. Just let your breath be normal. And notice how you are. Sometimes when we first go into the practice of stillness, it can feel really busy, because the minute we give the body-mind the opportunity for stillness, all the stuff that's been repressed or buried comes up, like sensations in the body, like energy, like thoughts. So it might not have felt very still, or maybe it did. There's no judgment, everything's perfect. But if that was your experience, or it is your experience, don't think there's anything wrong. Doesn't mean there's anything wrong or that you're doing something wrong. It's just like there's so much that's been unmet that in the opportunity for stillness, it begins to make itself known. So that's part of the process as well. Of course, you may also be sensing something of a transmission, because I'm resting back into stillness even as my eyes are open and I'm talking. I have that sense of stillness going on within me deeply, even though I'm talking and moving and interacting, right? So there's a transmission of it as well. So maybe you're also able to feel that. So just see, are there any questions? Is there any experience you would like to share? And if you don't want to do that live, you can do it afterwards in the comments below. Feel free to ask any questions, share any insight, share anything that you experience about what we've been doing today, or separately about your meditation practice. And tomorrow, the second video, we're going to be focusing on the fruit of feminine archetypes, which is the second pillar, the second month, the second module of the Awakening Shakti Mentorship program. And tomorrow's live, if you want to join me live, it's going to be at 10 a.m. in the morning. And then on Sunday, we're going to be looking at cycles, stages, and natural rhythms, and that will be at 5 p.m. on Sunday. It's going to stay here for you to watch back, so don't worry, you're not going to lose out or miss out. So thank you for joining me today on the 1st of the 1st, 2021. Lots of love, and I'm already looking forward to seeing you again tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Much love.